Welcome to Rich Conversations. This week's book is An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth by Colonel Chris Hadfield. This book was lent to me by my friend Grace. I appreciate our relationship. Each time we meet, we swap out books. So it's like we have our own little mini book club going between us. And I like that she has different interests than me. It helps round out my learning a little more. At Christmas, my brother and I gave our nephews spacesuits. 3 nephews, 6 and under. And so these spacesuits were like pajamas, like clothing pajamas, and then they had these like bonnet-like helmets. And they're really into space and astronauts. And they immediately put them on, abandoned opening any other presents, and just started zooming around the house. So recently when I was back in Wisconsin, I asked one of my nephews, I said to him, Leonard, I'm reading a book about an astronaut right now. What's your favorite thing about astronauts? He replies, they're in space. and then he adds, we build our own rocket ships at home. And so it reminded me of how probably all astronauts started, including Colonel Hadfield. As a kid, they have an enormous dream to go to space. Space. And the book I read was written by a guy who went to space. Unbelievable. The biggest takeaway from reading this is preparation and purpose. It's not romantic. You have to study, learn, and test all the time. You have to practice every single day. And aside from having the brain power and tenacity for competition, you have to be a particular size and be in very good physical shape. So many apply, but only a few actually make it. And even as an astronaut, it's not a guarantee that you'll go to space. So this goes without saying, but you have to have a strong sense of purpose and duty to endure everything. NASA doesn't just send people to space so they can have fun and fulfill a childhood dream. They need work done. And millions of taxpayers' dollars are on the line, and people's lives are on the line. There are no higher stakes. You have to be able to do everything. Everything. So like, for instance, if there's 3 people on board a ship and one has a medical background, but then they are disabled in some way, what are you going to do? Everybody has to learn every skill possible. One of the stories that stuck out to me was when Hadfield was doing a spacewalk. And a spacewalk is any time that an astronaut goes outside the vehicle to perform a task. And so he's out in space, and he tears up from the sight, because you're in space, and that's pretty incredible. But with no gravity, his tears stayed in his eyes, and he was blinded. So here's this dude who's literally in space and can't see. And so he's relying on communication all the way from Houston to get him through this. And then after resolving that issue, he has to fix a satellite that will require at least 8 hours of work in space. The stakes are so high. You have to prepare for the worst, but expect the best. Keep calm and work together. And it reminds me of the belief I have that everyone's job is important, and we all got to do it to make the world go round. This was a humbling book, and I really liked it. I'm looking to add more science and technology books to my queue, so if you do have recommendations, please let me know. Otherwise, have a fantastic week.